ഓം ഗം ഗണപതയേ നമഃ. ഓം ഗും ഗുരുഭ്യോ നമഃ. ഓം ശം സരസ്വത്യൈ നമഃ. സദാശിവസമാരംഭാം ശങ്കരാചാര്യമധ്യമാം അസ്മദാചാര്യപര്യന്താം വന്ദേ ഗുരുപരമ്പരാം. ശ്രുതിസ്മൃതിപുരാണാനാമാലയം കരുണാലയം നമാമി ഭഗവത്പാദശങ്കരം ലോകശങ്കരം. ശങ്കരം ശങ്കരാചാര്യം കേശവം ബാദരായണം സൂത്രഭാഷ്യകൃതൗ വന്ദേ ഭഗവന്തൗ പുനഃ പുനഃ. സമസ്തജനകല്യാണേ നിരതം കരുണാമയം നമാമി ചിന്മയം ദേവം സദ്ഗുരും ബ്രഹ്മവിദ്വരം. ഓം സഹനാവവതു സഹനൗ ഭുനക്തു സഹ വീര്യം കരവാവഹൈ തേജസ്വിനാവധീതമസ്തു മാ വിദ്വിഷാവഹൈ. ഓം ശാന്തി ശാന്തി ശാന്തി. We'll chant the first two verses of Sadhana Panchakam together. ഈ രണ്ട് ലൈറ്റ് ഓഫ് ചെയ്തിട്ട് ഈ രണ്ട് ലൈറ്റ് ഇടോ. ആ രണ്ട് ലൈറ്റ് ഓഫ് ചെയ്തിട്ട് ഇത് രണ്ടും ഇട്ടോളൂ. അതല്ല, ദിസ് ടു. എന്നെ നോക്കൂ. ദീസ് ടു ഫോക്കസ് ലൈറ്റ് അല്ലേ? മാർക്ക് ദിസ്. ഈ ലൈറ്റുകൾ മാർക്ക് ചെയ്തിട്ടാ, എന്നിട്ട് ഇതേപോലെ ഇട്ടാൽ മതിയേ. എല്ലാ ദിവസവും മാറ്റാൻ നിൽക്കരുതേ. മാർക്ക് ചെയ്യണത്. ഓക്കെ. വേദോ നിത്യമധീയതാം തദുദിതം കർമ്മ സ്വനുഷ്ഠീയതാം തേനേശസ്യ വിധീയതാമപചിതിഃ കാമ്യേ മതിസ്ത്യജ്യതാം പാപൗഘഃ പരിധൂയതാം ഭവസുഖേ ദോഷോനുസന്ധീയതാം ആത്മേച്ഛാവ്യവസീയതാം നിജഗൃഹാത് തൂർണം വിനിർഗമ്യതാം സംഗസ്സത്സു വിധീയതാം ഭഗവതോ ഭക്തിർദൃഢാധീയതാം ശാന്ത്യാദിഃ പരിചീയതാം ദൃഢതരം കർമാശു സന്ത്യജ്യതാം സദ്വിദ്വാനുപസൃപ്യതാം പ്രതിദിനം തത്പാദുകേ സേവ്യതാം ബ്രഹ്മൈകാക്ഷരമർത്ഥ്യതാം ശ്രുതിശിരോ വാക്യം സമാകർണ്യതാം. പ്ലീസ് റിപ്പീറ്റ്. വാക്യാർത്ഥശ്ച വിചാര്യതാം ശ്രുതിശിരഃ പക്ഷഃ സമാശ്രീയതാം ദുസ്തർക്കാത് സുവിരമ്യതാം ശ്രുതിമതസ്തർക്കോനുസന്ധീയതാം ബ്രഹ്മാസ്മീതി വിഭാവ്യതാം അഹരഹർഗർവഃ പരിത്യജ്യതാം ദേഹേഹം മതിരുജ്യതാം बुधजनैर्वादः परित्यज्यताम् Together. वाक्यार्थश्च विचार्यताम् श्रुतिशिरः पक्षः समाश्रयताम् दुस्तर्कात् सुविरम्यताम् श्रुतिमदस्तर्कोऽनुसन्धीयताम् ब्रह्मास्मीति विभाव्यताम् अहरहर्गर्वः परित्यज्यताम् देहे अहं मतिरुज्यताम् बुधजने वादः परित्यज्यताम्. We were listening to the third verse of this Sadhana Panchakam, where Bhagavan is pointing out the two steps of Vedantic sadhana known as manana and nididhyasana. So yesterday we were discussing about what is mananam. Said, what is manana? Says, vakyarthascha vicharyata. Vicharana. We have seen the definition of manana and all that. So we heard Guru gave us the Mahavakya. The four Mahavakyas are advised, and then we start to meditate upon, think about this Vakyartha. Thinking based on the Shrutishira Pakshaha, based on the arguments of Upanishad. Shrutishira Pakshaha Samashreyata. So that much we have listened. Shrutishira Pakshaha Samashreyata. Now, Bhagavan is giving us a warning. What is this? See, we are doing manana. In manana, logic, tarka, logical thinking is the tool for manana. But this tool is something which is very dangerous, like a double-edged sword. It can cut others also, it can cut ourselves also. If tarka is not done properly, then tarka can lead us to wrong understandings also. That's why tarka is important, logic is important, but dustarkat suviramyatam. Dustarkat, from false reasons, antagonistic reasons. What do you mean by false reasons? False reasons means those reasons which includes logical fallacy. What do you mean by logical fallacy? We'll learn about these words. In Indian understanding, it is known as hetu abhasa. Hetu abhasa means logical fallacy. A statement or a thinking which has error in reasoning, that which lead to wrong decisions or wrong conclusions. What is logical fallacy? Logical fallacy which looks like a logic. It looks like a jnana, but it's actually abhasa jnana. Means wrong, confusing kind of arguments which will lead us to the wrong conclusions. Such statements are known as logical fallacy. Hetu abhasa, That's why Bhagavan is telling, be careful. When we are dealing, see, the path of Vedanta is the Jnanapada. In Jnanapada, the path of inquiry, we need logic. In path of Bhakti, it is more of faith. What Guru says, you believe, that's it. And then we power. But in this path of inquiry, the path of knowledge, we need the base. It's not only hearing, not only Shravana, but Manana is a very important step. But the problem is, when we start to do Mananam, unless our way of thinking is proper, there's all possibility that we may go into wrong kinds of conclusions. That's why Shastra Guru Bhagavan is warning us, Dustarkat Suviramyadam. Dustarkat, from this super, that confusing thoughts, false reasoning. Dushtaha tarkaha. We'll discuss it about later. Dustarka means dushtaha tarkaha. Antagonistic reasoning. Suviramyadam. Viramyadam? Avoid. Suviramyadam. Avoid completely. Don't even try to bring these kinds of false logic. Why? Because false logic also look like logic, but will lead us to confusion and wrong understandings. So, Dustarkat Suviramyadam. Be careful that our reasoning is Shrutimada Tarkaha. We have to use Tarka. That Tarka should be based on Shruti, not independent thinking. Why not independent? Because what is independent thinking? Independent thinking comes from our intellect, which is limited. When we use something which is limited to understand the unlimited, that logic cannot take us to the right conclusion. So, Dustarkat Suviramyadam. Okay. Now here, Acharya is using a word, Tarkaha. Okay. Tarka. This is a great Indian philosophical concept of Tarka. Tarka means what? Logical thinking, logical reasoning. The Tarka word is used in many of our Indian languages to argue. Tark mat karo. Don't get don't enter into the arguments. That is not the meaning here. In Shastra, Tarka is not just arguments. Tarka is logical thinking or reasoning. Tarka. The word Tarka means logical thinking or reasoning. Tarka, there are 3 types of Tarka. Logical reasoning, thinking are of 3 types. First one is known as Vada. Vada. Second is Jalpa. Third is known as Vitanda. Vada, Jalpa, Vitanda. These are the 3 kinds of Tarka in Indian philosophy. What do you mean by Vada? Again, Vada not from our colloquial sense. Vada means Tattva Nirupanatmakam Chintanam. Tattva nirupanatmakam chintanam. See, we are all sitting together and then we want to find the tattva. We want to know the truth. In order to find out the truth, when we sit together and discuss, discussion to arrive at the right kind of conclusion. This is not to argue with others or to disprove somebody. We want to find what is the truth. So we are all sitting and then we discuss. This is not a dialogue. In the Western philosophy, that's known as dialogue. Dialogue is not to contradict anyone. We sit together and then think about concepts in a very proper manner. So that is known as tattva nirupanatmakam. That which leads us to the right conclusion on any topic. We just want to know the truth, that's all. In order to understand the reality, when we sit together and then discuss, that is known as a dialogue, that is known as vada. That's kind of a tarka, that's kind of a inquiry, logical reasoning. That is the first kind of tarka. What is the name? What is the name of it? Vada. Second is known as jalpa. Jalpa is also a thinking. Jalpa is also thinking, a reasoning, logical thinking, reasoning. But jalpa has some ulterior motives. What is that? Jalpa is done to disprove somebody and to establish our points. In Vada, we are only just thinking, what is the truth. But in Jalpa is not only to prove our statements, to disprove the others. Paramata khandanam, swapaksha sthapanam. Paramata khandanam. We have to disprove the arguments of the opponent and then establish our own stand, our own vision or our own understanding. So, we use the logic to disprove somebody and to establish our own thoughts or ideas. That is known as jalpa. Vadaha jalpa. Vada jalpa. Third is known as vitanda. Vitanda is also a tarka. But vitanda is only parapaksha khandanam, na swapaksha sthapanam. Vitanda is used only to disprove the points of others. आप जो कह रहे हैं वह असत्य है. Whatever you are telling is untruth. It's wrong. Okay, ours is wrong. What is your point? We have nothing to say. Whatever you are telling, no, that is none of my business to say what I want. But whatever you are telling is wrong. Why? It's wrong. Kyun? Wrong. So, this kind of arguments, in order to disprove others, is known as vitanda. Nothing to prove, only disprove. So that is known as vitanda. So there are three kinds of logical thinking in Indian philosophical systems. Acharya also uses this, not vitanda, but both vada and jalpa. In Brahma Sutra, etc., we can see he, does the khandana of paramata so much and then establish. This is what I say. But generally, in other places, vada is that which use. So in order to find out the truth about the self, what we should do? We should use only vada. That's why here dustarkaha. So tarka can be divided into two kinds of tarka. See, we cannot say that jalpa and vidanda is dustarka. Okay? Why? Because that also sometimes needed. When somebody is coming to argue and they are not at all ready to listen to the reasoning, sometimes we also have to argue with them. That is okay. But what is tarka? Tarka is of two kinds. One is known as the sutarkaha. Another is known as dustarkaha. The logical thinking can be divided into two kinds. One which is known as sutarka. Sutarka is a dialogue. What we studied as vada. What is vada? What do you mean by sutarka? What do you mean by the correct kind of logical thinking? Says, Vitaragayoho Shishya Acharyayoho Anyayoho va Tattva Nirupana Bhalaha Samvadaha. What is sutarka? It is a samvada. It's a dialogue between Vitaragayoho. There is no ragadvesha involved. It's not that I want to establish my point and then you do ghantana of your point, nothing. There's no likes or dislikes. We are sitting down. Shishya acharyayoho anyayoho va. No, people are sitting down, they are seated, and then with very calm, quiet mind, without any kinds of likes or dislikes, or kind of thinking that I have to prove this and I have to disprove. Nothing. They are taking up a subject and then pondering over it, using the intellectual, using the tarka and trying to find out the truth. This kind of a dialogue between people or between the guru and the shishya, that is known as sutarkaha. We'll see this in Upanishads. Every Upanishad, even Bhagavad Gita. Entire Bhagavad Gita is a sutarka. See, sometimes we can see in Gita, in the Upanishad, that the shishya is not very much approving the stance of guru. He also, sometimes asks questions. Sometimes say that, I don't understand this. Or, what you said is not correct, I think. This happens. We'll see in Gita's 4th chapter, Bhagavan is talking about this jnanam, and he says that, I gave this to Surya, Surya gave this to Ikshvaku and all that. Evam parambara praptam imam jnanam. That all got destroyed because of the kale neyaham hata, etc. So Arjuna asked Krishna, what are you telling? And where is Surya's janma? Where is your janma? They are almost the same age. What are you telling? So this is not to disprove what Bhagavan said, want to clarify. So there will be a dialogue, there will be question and answers, and the shishya may ask, may disprove. He may not accept what Guru says also. He can. That's all possible, but not to disprove or to, So that kind of a conversation, a dialogue, is known as sutarkaha. Why? That tarka will help us to come to the right conclusions. So that is known as sutarkaha. So what is dustarka? Opposite to this. Dushtam tarkam. What do you mean by dushtam tarkam? Known as jnana abhasaha. It looks like jnanam, but it's actually not jnana. It's known as chalam. Chalam means deceiving. It is kind of knowledge which looks very much correct, but if you enter into that, we shall perish. That kind of arguments are known as dustarkaha. Why dustarkaha? First one, raga dveshadi sprishtam. Why Acharya is telling here, don't enter into dustarka? Because dustarkas are coming from likes and dislikes. I don't like Advaita. That is the first thing. See, I am not, sitting and doing this chindanam to know what is Advaita. First itself I have decided that I don't like these people. So, in order to disprove, we enter because raga is there. I like this, I don't like that. Because of raga dvesha sparsha. Because the entire dialogue, entire discussion is based on our likes and dislikes. When an argument or a discussion is beginning with or based on raga dvesha, likes and dislikes, that discussion will never lead us to the right conclusion. So, dustarka means any discussion which is arising from likes and dislikes. Second, why dustarka? Shruti viruddham. The arguments, what they present, they are against the Shruti, against the revealed knowledge. Because the jnana, which is shown there, is against the revealed knowledge, it is dustarka. Third, hetvabhasa jatilam. These arguments are so complex. Why? Because it is filled with logical fallacies. One after another, fallacies are put forward. Because of that, we don't even understand what they are telling. One after another, logical fallacies. You say something, they put some other kinds of argument. When we are talking to about, they put something else. They bring some other language, some other subject, and then mix it up. Such logics are known as dustarkaha. Acha, Bhagavan, we don't understand what are you telling, what this dustarkaha. You said that we should not enter into dustarka. Yeah, I am telling you, please do not enter to dustarka. But Bhagavan, without knowing what is dustarka, how can we avoid dustarka? Okay. What is dustarka? Dustarka, there are hundreds, okay. One example is Agnihi Shitalaha. Bhutatvat jalavat. This is how Indian logical statements goes. Okay, there should be a statement, and there should be the reason, and there should be conclusion. Panchavaya Vakya. That's all we'll study later. So first one is, what is the statement? Agni is cool. Agnihi shitalaha. The fire is cool. This is a statement. This is tarka. Why are you telling like that? Bhutatvad. Because the Agni is an element, isn't it? Yes. You see any other element, whether it is water, whether it is Prithvi, earth, whether it is Vayus, everything is cool, isn't it? So, if all other elements are cold in nature, then Agni also should be cold in nature. This is known as Hetvabhasa. This is known as Dustarka. Okay. This is okay. Whatever you say, okay. But then Vedanta says, oh, very good. But Anubhudi Padyavasanam. The jnana should be Anubhudi. Okay, you are telling Agni is very cold. No, very good. Come. We will give you a bath. With Agni, we will give you a bath. Okay, this is okay. Another nice argument is there. We all will like it. Achha? What is that? Rinam na pratyarpayet. Papatvad. What? rinam na pratyarpayed papatvad. This is very nice one. What is that? Rinam na pratyarpayed. Borrow money from anyone, everywhere, and never give it back. Rinam na pratyarpayed papatvat. Why? Because giving back the rina is a papa, sinful activity. Hey, how can you say this? There's an argument. See, taking money, borrowing money is very happy. We are very happy to borrow money. But when we want to give it back, we are so sad, isn't it? Taking money from others is easy. Giving back is difficult. So, giving back money brings sadness. Whatever brings sadness is papa. So, giving back money is a papa. So don't do that. This is all known as dustarka, okay? That's why known as dustarkat suviramyada. You got it, no? Because giving back money is a papa karma. Don't do this. How can it be? Because giving back money brings lots of sorrow, sadness. Whatever brings sadness to us is papa. So, this is also papa. These are all known as the dustarka. Swamiji, these are all, But about Atma, if we are studying Vedanta, so you should give some example from Vedanta. Okay. Okay. If you want to know the dustarka of Vedantic, yes. Atma anekaha. Anubhava vyatirekat. Ataha atmanaha anekattu. This is a dustarka in the Vedantic field. What is the argument? Atma anekaha. There are many Atmas. Okay? Atma, Jiva, the souls are different. Acha? Oh, that we all believe. No, Vedanta. Advaita Vedanta belief is not that there are many souls. Okay? Atma anekaha. Why? Because anubhavyatirekat. How can you say that there are different Atmas in this world? Because all of us are, our feelings, our experiences, they are all different. Anubhava vyatirekat. Our experiences, our feelings, etc. are different. Some person is very happy, another person is very sad, another person is sleepy. No, so some people are in Sattva Bhava, some are in Rajasa Bhava, some are Tamasa Bhava. So, because there are different experiences for different people, that shows that Atma are different. Okay, this is a dustarka. Acha, I thought this is correct. No. Why? Because, now, Vedanta has to prove this. What is sutarka? Sutarka is Atmava ekaha, eko Atma. Atma is only one. Nay, how can it possible? See, you are taking wrong conclusions, or you are doing the hetu abhasa. See, please understand, it's like this. There are 100 pots in a place. Each pot is different. One is black in color, another is blue in color, another is green in color, another is golden in color. One is small, one is big. No, one is of this shape, one is like this shape. So, based on the name and form and color and the size of the pots are different. No problem. Right. But the space is one. Because the pots are different, we cannot say that Ghataha bhinnaha Akasho abhinna. Yes, the pots are different, but pots will come and go. You are telling that Atmaha Bhinnaha based on Sharira. Sharira, Stula Sukshma Karana Sharira, which will come and go. So Atma is not the Sharira. Atma is not Sharira. Whether it is Stula Sharira, Sukshma Sharira or Karana Sharira. Atma is that which pervades. Like, just because the pots are of different sizes and forms and names and the colors, the space cannot be different. What we call as the pot space is, when we call it the pot space also, the space is same. Before the pot was created, the space was there. When the pot is there, the space is there. Once the pot will destroy, also space will be there. The space is not changing. What is changing is the pots. Like that, if you say that because we have so many bodies are there, because of that the Atma is different, it is telling like this, because the pots are many, the space is also many. So, but when we listen, very good logic, Atma nekaha anubhava vividekat. Very correct. This is known as hetva abhasaha. This is known as dustarkaha. And very easy to convince us. Because we are in that level, We are not neither here nor there. We are on that. So, it's easy for us to delude. Very easily, because this kind of dustarka seems very logical and very convincing, because we are still under the grasp of avidya. We have no experience of the Supreme. Because there is no experience now, it's very easy for us to get deluded with these kinds of this, logical fallacy. And if we do that kind of tarka, dustarka, then we shall never come to the right conclusion. That's why Bhagavan is telling us, dustarkat suviramyada. Okay, dustarka suviramyada. Okay, we gave up dustarka. Now what tarka we should do? To recognize my own self. Now, what tarka I should do? Says in the next Upadesha, Shruti madas tarko nusandhiyatam. Shruti madaha tarkaha anusandhiyatam. What we should do? We should follow. It's not like many other, practices and logics and then religions which say, never ask questions. Vedanta, Indian system, always encourages to ask questions, to think. But what kind of thinking, what kind of, process of understanding and reasoning we should use? Shruti mataha tarkaha. Logic which is in concurrence with Shruti. Shruti mataha tarkaha. Logic which is in concurrence with Shruti, with the revealed scriptures. Anusandhiyatam. Please follow those logics which are in concurrence with Shruti, with the revealed scripture. Shruti matat tarkaha anusandhiyatam. So, see, please understand, why are we entering into this Chintanam? We are entering into Vedanta Chintana to recognize, to realize the truth. We are not entering into Vedanta Chintana to disprove something or to, establish something new. Why are we here? We want to find the truth. In order to understand the truth, to experience the truth. Not only understand, to experience. To experience, we should understand. Why manana is needed? We started with this thinking to remove asambhavana. You remember? Yesterday we discussed about abhavana and asambhavana. What do you mean by asambhavana? This feeling that it is not possible. Ye ho nahi sakta. What? Jiva Brahmaikya is not possible. This is there in all of us. In order to remove this asambhavana, in order to remove the doubts from our mind, we are starting mananam. Not to disprove. That's why we should use logic. Without logic, we cannot remove the doubts. The doubts has to be removed by the logic, but that logic should be based on the process of thinking of Upanishads. Otherwise, it will take us to wrong conclusions. Shruti tarkaha. So, please accept the tarka, the logical thinking, which is based on Shruti. Shruti is mother. The Acharyas, why Shruti mother? Because Shruti is not something which is found or written or by any person. Because when a person is explaining something, there are all possibilities that his likes and dislikes, his samskaras, all of that, all of them can influence the arguments. When one argument comes from my mind, whatever arguments comes from my mind is controlled by my vasanas, my likes, my dislikes, my way of thinking, my cultural background. When I am telling something from my mind, this is influenced by so many factors. And it is possible that those kinds of arguments may not be complete. You will see this, many of the writers, many of the philosophers, modern philosophers, okay? They write something in their first book. But when you read their last books, you see that what they thought or written in the first book and what they are writing in the last book is very different. Why? Because they are telling from their mind, from their own experiences, maybe. But the experiences can be false also. Wrong experiences also possible. So just because it is coming from my experience, it doesn't mean that it is correct. I am telling you, there is a big snake. Where? In front of that, Shankaram. Acha, yes, I saw it. Just because I saw it, it may not be right. Because it was night, evening, and I went there. I am afraid of snakes, and I saw there something black. I ran away. I have not even checked what it was, just only a rope. See, just because I experienced it, please understand experiences can be right or wrong. Based on these people's experiences when they speak, and if you take it as the pramana, there are all possibilities that they will change their experience. Many of the modern masters, if you read, you can see this. I don't want to name, but like Osho, etc. If you read the first books of Osho and then the last books, lots of difference is there. Sometimes in the book itself, what he is arguing in the beginning and what he is concluding in the end are different. Why? Because that is coming from the mind, which can be changed. Mind can change. I can change my mind. Who are you to ask? So that's why he says, Shruti mata tarkaha. Don't go after anyone. If you want to reason, please don't take our mind also for granted, because this mind is also filled with so much of samskaras. So what is the way to find out the truth? Shruti mata tarkaha. Take up the logics which are given in the Shruti, which is revealed, which is given by the Paramatma itself. Shruti mata tarkaha. That also anusandhiyata. This is very important. What do you mean by anusandhana? To follow. But anusandhana is not only follow. Anusandhana means sada, always. Always. Whenever we are using the logic, always use the Shruti mata tarka. Not independent thinking. Because independent thinking can be influenced by the mind and the intellect and the samskaras and the cultural background and so many other factors which can lead to hetva bhasa, which can lead to fallacies. So, please do not go after those kinds of tarka. Take up Shruti mata tarka alone. Why? Why we should take Shruti mata tarka? First reason, if we take Ashruti mata tarka, there is possibility of coming to wrong conclusions. Second, why are we doing this tarka? Why are we are engaging in this manana? In order to remove samsaya. We are doing this manana to remove the doubts. So, Shruti mata tarka samsaya hani. In order to remove the thing. Third, why we should do Shruti mata tarka? Because no other means of knowledge can reveal the nature of the self. What? As I was discussing yesterday, as my eyes cannot experience the smell, as my ears cannot see the form. So each shastra, each sense has its own capacity, and it can't do the job of other. Like that, there are different shastra. They are all good in their own fields. You cannot go to an attorney, to an advocate and take medical help. If you want medical help, go to a doctor. And don't go to a doctor with a, land problem. So we go to the right people for the right advice, isn't it? Like that, when you are thinking about the Atma Shastra, about the self, about the truth of the universe, you should go to the right people who are masters in that subject. If you go to the wrong people, they may give their own advice, especially in India. All Indians are great doctors. You have any problem, we have some remedy with us. But be careful, what will happen, we do not know. Okay? So, like that, if we want to find the truth, go to the right source. What is the right source? The right source is the revealed scripture. That Atma cannot be known through any other means. No other means. Yen manasana manute yenahur manomatam tadeva brahmatvam vidhi nedam yadidam upasate. We are trying to understand something which cannot be comprehended by the intellect. So if we are just only taking the refuge of intellectual arguments, there are all possibilities that we may come to wrong conclusions. So what is the path here? Shruti alone is the path. That's why we'll study in Brahma Sutra. Bhagavan will talk about, the sutra will talk about this knowledge, the absolute knowledge of the self should come from Shastra. Shastra yonitvat. That's a sutra. This knowledge, this experience of the Atma, what is the Hetu, Karana, the source? The source is Vedanta Shastra. So, Shruti Madat Tarkaha Anusandhiyata. Acharya, you are talking about Shruti Madas Tarka. What Tarka is this? What kind of logical, thinking is this? You want to know the logical thinking of Upanishad? Yes. But I see that you are all hungry. We will discuss in the evening. Okay. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om.